Hey, everybody. Work Your Career Wednesday is back, and I am so thankful. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back, man. This is so great. I'm so excited, not only about today's show, but I'm so excited to be back with you. So I don't know. Some of you may not know I had a surgery, I had an emergency surgery, but there were so many miracles involved in it. And God said, not yet. And I'm so thankful. Took some time off to recover, and I'm back. And boy, I feel like today's show, I'm back with a vengeance. It's so cool. And to everyone that prayed, everyone that reached out, thank you so much. I love you. I had a lot of people reach out to me, text and call and, talk to Erica and like, Brad's been on my heart, what's going on? And it was just incredible. And I am just so thankful that I'm just so thankful. So today we have an amazing guest. Let me tell you, this guy, he's been a guest before. He gave me an incredible testimonial. It's on every social media. He I don't know, it's just weird. We became like instant friends, like right away when we first met. And the guy, he's a legend in the custom car world. He invented a belt, custom car and detailing world. He developed a belt called Detailer's Helper, and that belt is now spawned different belts to go into different industries. He is a serial entrepreneur. Him and his wife are builders. They're car people. And I'm sorry, the set has changed, aka my office. I hope you guys like it. After the surgery, and I was starting to do this before, but I just thought, you know what? I'm going to bring it out. And then we've added to it and it keeps going. I've been a car guy my whole life, and this is just part of, expressing my love for cars and trucks and anything on 4 wheels or 8 or whatever kind of wheels. Custom car building, I just absolutely love. And anyway, my guest, he's so awesome. He is a man of God. He's one of those people that, like, we did a mastermind together. And I feel like our friendship is a mastermind. This guy, so I've lost a little weight. This guy's voice was in my ear telling me to keep going. Like, don't give up. You can do this. The masterminds he does with that he's developed, he's helped men sort of through all of this. And he started this. He's a host of Maxed Out Man. He started that podcast to sort of uplift and celebrate masculinity in a time where it was told to all of us that we were toxic just to be male. And I believe he was one of those voices that really brought to the forefront the fact that, you know what? It's good that you're a man. You have a purpose. You have a point. I mean, at that time, people were telling us that we were pointless. And the problem was we were believing it. And he was one of the voices to say, no, enough. Stop it. Stop it. This is who you are. And these masterminds he's developed, not only has he, for some of his, I would say, students, they're discovering what it is to be a man. And some of us are rediscovering what it is to be a man. And I'm just so grateful to him. I'm grateful for his friendship. I I'm so blessed that this came together, and he is my first guest coming back. Guys, please make welcome my friend, Mr. Kevin Davis.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Brad.
Bro,
I don't, you know, I think we should just, do the whole scene thing and like just stop right now. Cause after that, it could be downhill from now. I don't know. I'll do my best. A lot of pressure being the first guest back. So thankful that you came out the other side of that and those are trying times, right? Like with your faith. And it goes both ways, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna doubt my faith today. What's God doing in my life? And then I'm like, holy crap, what's God doing in my life? Right? Like
right?
you go between both of those almost a dichotomy a little bit, I
Yeah.
think. And I know a lot of people were praying for you, and I know you kind of kept it on a little bit on the down low, but man, what a blessing. And I can see it in your countenance. I can see it in your face. I mean, you're always one of those happy-go-lucky dudes, but I can see God's, you're not quite the Moses on Mount Sinai moment, but you do have a glow about you. There's no golden calves around. So, but like you've got that, that you've been touched by the Lord in a special way, and you can exude that. And I think God really does take us through times like those in order to then speak into the world. You already have had a great voice, speaking voice, obviously an amazing singing voice, but then to be able to speak through with God's voice also, even more powerfully than you were before.
Brother, yeah, you have no idea what that means to me, man. I want to come back on your show. I really do,
Yeah.
because there's so much that I want to touch on, and that you don't know it, but you were a part of.
Mm.
And it was one of those things where it's so embarrassing. It was, I'll just let people know. So it was a hernia that I let go for 10 years. And the reason is because it was in the most undignified place it could possibly be. And I mean, everybody kind of sees that I'm out there, but I'm a pretty private person, and I just didn't want to deal with it. And it reminded me of so many things, and those things that you touch on in your masterminds, man, things that you've talked to me about that you had no idea. And I didn't have any idea at the time what that actually, like the metaphors that come out of it. I let this thing go to the extent, not to be too graphic, but I had to lift it up to, use the restroom.
Oh, wow.
And it got to the point where, I would lay down and I would be numb.
Mm.
And then it got to the point where this thing is becoming necrotic. And, and I'll go into it later. It ended up not being that. And it wasn't the emergency surgery that, if the surgery doesn't kill you, the recovery does.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up being something that could be planned, and it was done by one of the finest surgeons in the nation, and that's a whole miracle in and of itself. I ended up, my friend Shannon Tavakli, he's my cardiologist, also a good friend, and I was texting him what was going on, and he said, "Listen, bro, I'm in Switzerland. I can't help you, but you need to get a hold of these people." And I got a hold of one of them, and they became my surgeon, and they became my friend. It's just one of those things where you let things go, and they can become, no matter how much good you're doing, and no matter how much you're trying to fulfill the call or whatever it is, if you let something go too long, it's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't take care of it, then it's just it's just thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. That's
And
amazing. Well, it's
I
interesting.
appreciate you more than you know.
It's interesting. Dude, this amazing. And I'll tell a little story after this, but it is crazy how Men are the worst about this, I think. Women, because women's health is just
Complex, man.
well, dude, first of all, complex doesn't even begin.
Right? I
But
mean, good
women
God.
tend to lean towards more preventative health and all that kind of stuff. And the
Yeah.
interesting thing about your situation, and I'm not going to call you out too hard on this, because I think a lot of men are in this way. When it's something super obvious, right? Like that way, that you can say, okay, I'm willingly ignoring something that
That's
I know is
exactly it.
I know, like, I don't know if you're like a fan of that movie Alien and you just like how things move around like that, or, pop out of your chest or wherever it was going to pop out of, right?
Oh, yeah.
But here's the irony, right? There are men and women listening to this show right now that are ignoring high blood pressure, ignoring the fact their
Yeah.
diet sucks, ignoring the fact they don't work out, or they're unhealthy, or they, even eyesight stuff, like all of these things, right? If you're Those are way easier to ignore, right? Like you've got,
Oh, yeah.
if you're carrying 50 extra pounds, 75 extra pounds, whatever it happens to be, that's unhealthy for you. And I mean, there's an
Yeah.
aesthetic component, right? Like I'm pretty vain. So like, one of the reasons I work out is because I'm vain, but also it makes me healthier.
Yeah. Totally get it.
But,
Yeah.
those are easier to ignore, right? Like I'm still
Hmm.
okay. And until it gets to a certain point where it's just out there and a real problem. But I think as men, especially, we are very good at compartmentalizing our lives. And I think that
Mm.
is one, just our overall health and well-being. And the big irony and what we talk a lot about is, like, if your health, wellness, mindfulness, faith, if all those things are subpar and suboptimal, there's your fancy word for the day, but
There you go.
suboptimal, everything else in your life is suboptimal. Your relationships, your jobs, your business, your your hobbies, everything. And so
So true.
it all starts with that, right? Like the old adage is, people spend most of their will spend health to make money, and then later in life they spend all their money to get their health
Good
back.
Lord, that is so. That's
And
such
so
a.
that's our, I mean, especially in Western society, that's pretty much what we do.
You know, it's gosh, that is so true, and it's exactly what I did. And it was easy to compartmentalize that, even though it posed difficulties in areas. But I just didn't want to deal with it. And and
Well,
it
you chose to deal with it every single minute of every day instead of actually going and dealing with it and getting it over with. Right? Which is what
that's it. That's
which is,
actually it.
and
That's actually it.
it's like, okay, that's not really a problem,
Well, I mean, dude, that's so funny. Like, I can. It's fine,
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
bro.
that'll be okay.
It'll go away on its own. Whatever. Bro, that is so true. That's so true. And like with the heart stuff, I had this ethereal moment back then, and I'm like, well, if I stop, then everything else stops. And what I was it was really wrong to think that way. In a sense, that is true. But in all actuality, life will go on, right? Even, and I haven't talked about it at all, but Charlie Kirk's assassination, shocking. The event itself, the investigation. I don't want to get off on this, but hear my point. The reaction
Mhm.
that we saw, but life goes on. Here we are. What are we 6 weeks out, and you know what I mean. So life is going to go on. The question is, have you built something that is going to sustain you?
Mhm.
And that's what a lot of men don't understand, I don't think. I know I didn't get it really until this time. Is what I'm building going to outlive me?
Yeah.
And I think that we are trained to live in the moment. We're trained to, you know, we even from college, like you're learning to work for someone, which isn't a bad thing, but it's to build someone else's legacy. And what's
Mhm.
really interesting, I saw a commercial that I did for who I work for, Jane's Physical Therapy. I mean, and I'm looking at that, and at that point, I had lost, I don't know, 30 pounds, I guess. And I'm thinking, okay, look, and I looked at that thing, and I'm like, I even told Casey, I said, or the CEO, I said, man, I am out there as the face of this company in the recruiting part of this company. Oh my God. I didn't realize. I really did. The lead singer of Heart, remember
Mhm.
her?
Yep.
And I remember the behind the music she did, and everybody started making fun of her when she started gaining weight.
Mhm.
She didn't see it. And I'm not saying that you don't celebrate the wins, right? I'm not saying that. Celebrate all of them. But don't move the goalpost of where your goals are, right? And
Mhm.
be content with going halfway. And I think that's where I was for a minute, and I just, it just all came to a head in August, and
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful, man. I'm thankful I'm back, and dude, oh my God, what in the world, dude? You're doing so much. You're
Yeah.
going back to SEMA, which that's kind of a thing. It's kind of like Christmas for you and your wife. It's like you guys are always going, but SEMA, like,
That's where we see our friends, right? Yeah.
oh my God, I want to go to SEMA so bad. I love it.
We'll
I
make you a
love that place,
temporary employee of Detailer's Helper. I will get
dude,
you a business card. I'm good friends with the president of SEMA, but they have tightened the
bro,
regulations. But they yeah, well, I can get you in. It's easy. I'll get you. We'll
dude.
go.
Okay, we're doing this.
This is my 15th year to go.
Jeez,
And
dude,
it's a great thing. If you don't know what SEMA is, it's a Special Equipment Manufacturers Association. It's the largest automotive trade show in the world. It's in Vegas. I think probably this year Mike said that they'll do 180,000, not including they do a Friday night event after the show for the public. Last year, 2 years ago was F1. They had F1 around. It was crazy, but yeah, it's a cool thing. My favorite part about telling SEMA stories is that my wife was a stay-at-home mom. Both my kids left at 17. One of the things with this show, and I don't even know how to describe it to put it in context for other industries, but one of the like big goals is for a car builder to have a car in SEMA.
in
So
SEMA,
typically,
yeah,
yeah, so you'll have them in the booths, you have them outside, you have them kind of displayed and that kind of thing. And so it's kind of a big deal, right? So my wife, being, homemaker turned welder, fabricator, painter, off-roader, everything else that she does, she's such a badass. She's a boxer and just she's so much cooler than me. Model, I met her, married a model.
that's dope,
She has now had her Jeep, the personal Jeep that she and I built was in twice, and then she's been in part of 3 other major builds that have been in SEMA. So five SEMAs that she's had a vehicle in. And that part of our life
bro.
is a little is we're not doing that currently, but we're planning on maybe building her 72 GMC into another build with a friend of mine, Aaron Hagar, who you may recognize that last name. Um,
Know it well.
yeah,
Hello.
so
Oh my gosh,
Aaron's one of my best friends. He's amazing. Um, the best thing about Aaron, first of all, he's like Jamie Foxx. There are just people, and this is totally off, but there are people in the world that you're just like, dude, leave some freaking talent for the rest of the population. Okay.
right?
Like he started his early career doing monsters and all that stuff in Hollywood. Sammy won't like this, but I think he's a better performer and musician, better singer than Sammy. Um, he's
You heard it
real
here first,
he's really, really,
literally.
he's really, really good. And an
No offense,
artist.
Aaron. No
he,
offense, man. I'm
he's
just saying.
no, that anyway.
I'm just saying.
Sorry,
You know.
Sammy. Sorry, Sammy, but I'm way closer to your son than you. So,
I'm just saying. You heard it here first.
but great
Because you
musician,
heard it here first.
amazing artist. He's a guy that
Yeah.
takes a photograph and creates a painting that looks like literally it's almost impossible
Oh
to tell it's
man,
not a photograph. But anyway, I don't even know where I was
dude.
going with that, but
What? So your wife has had 5 builds in
yeah,
SEMA.
yeah.
You
Oh,
and
Aaron is
you and
gonna be
Aaron.
Aaron's gonna be doing her father gifted her his 72 GMC 3/4 ton that was he bought brand new. She grew up with it. It's beat
Oh
all to
my
crap. It's
gosh,
beat all to crap though. So we need to basically rebuild the whole thing. So he was a fireman. Aaron volunteered. He will actually design the vehicle. So we want to create an overlanding vehicle that looks like a fireman's, like a fire chief's truck, but
okay,
everything is functional. So like the fire extinguisher would be water tanks, the hose things you can put fishing rods in, and you can put awnings and all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of
dude,
the
that suspension is
underlying
gonna
idea.
be.
So I got to go back and try to, we've been down that fundraising, give me free parts and we'll show you in SEMA methodology before. So we'll get there again, but with
Have
her
you
cheap.
guys? Do you guys know the? Because I'm just thinking about the suspension and the chassis on it. Have you guys? Do you know the guy in? He's in Houston. Well, North Houston. He's got that show, Texas Metal.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name though.
I can't either. Anyway, but the kind of suspension that he builds sounds like probably what you guys like, something
Yeah,
similar to that, because it's
yeah.
going to take a lot. That's bro. You know when I got into car building, I was a little kid, and my grandfather, him and my uncle Denzel would just go head to head on things, right? So we went to the junkyard back when you could go to the junkyard and get stuff, and bought, it was a 65 Ford F 250.
Mm.
I'm so sick of seeing the F100s, bro. Like they're everywhere, man.
Yeah, F-150s are everywhere for sure.
Well, dude, back in the city there were 100s.
Yep,
F1,
100s.
and they
And
had
then the
they had the
F200. Now, was it a 250 or did they do a 200? I can't remember how they
it was a 250. It
250.
was a
Okay.
well, he might have converted to a 250, but
Yeah.
it was a long bed, and it had the like the really, they weren't mutters, but they were 4 heavy duty trucks.
Yeah.
And we built the suspension up. We built, my hands were small. So when so when he was rebuilding the engine, like he go, yeah, Brad, go. And I felt like I was part of it,
Oh
even
yeah.
though, I mean, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But now my uncle got a 70, I think it was a 70 70 or 71 C10. And he built that from the ground up.
Nice.
But my grandfather, he we go to the junkyard every weekend, and we would get parts for it. And he put I hope I get this right. I think he put a 66 or a 67 clip on that 65.
Okay. Yep.
So it was kind of, and so, but when he built it, I mean, dude, the seat was out of a Buick. It was a back seat with a speaker in the
Yep.
right.
Yep.
It was a black
That's
vinyl.
single 6x9 that was back there. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Anyway, when it was finished, and I'm talking about from the ground up, paint, the whole thing. We got the Rust-Oleum, painted it red.
Yep.
Back before it was cool. And anyway, that truck took him about 2 years, I want to say, to build. And then he put a monstrosity of a camper on it. But, he was old. What are you going to do? But that thing. And then my uncle's truck, he sold that. I helped him build that from the ground up. And same thing, paint the whole deal. Who knows what they did with it when he sold, but he sold that for a really nice chunk of change. And this is back in, I mean, I was in the 80s, I guess late 80s. Anyway, that's that. And then my dad used to build cars, and really what he would do is he sold cars like tissue. Like they meant
flipped them. Yeah.
Dude. I mean, if you don't find an evangelist that isn't in the car business in some way or shape or form, they're not really an evangelist.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's where I got my love for it. And Hot Wheels and all of that and everything, and all these shows about, custom car building. And it's just one of those things that's like, I feel like it's in my blood,
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for people that do this, man. I wish I had the talent. Maybe I could get back into it if I'm building something.
I wish I had the talent too.
Well, not for nothing, but you have a pretty dope build yourself. We won't get into that, but I gotta tell you, that picture
we have a couple of them. Michelle's Jeep turned out really well. That
Jeep, and here's the thing: you take them to SEMA, but you're building them to drive.
Oh yeah, that
we Jeep build is in the mountains.
We've done Moab with that thing, and yeah, it's been wrecked once. She lawn darted it in the middle of the dunes in Glamis,
as you do,
and she broke the front axle on it 4 days before SEMA. By the way, here's a SEMA story for you. So
okay.
she did the Rebel Rally, which is an all-female rally. It's 1,200 miles through the desert from Lake Tahoe all the way basically to the wall. Down in Glamis, and it's across all these terrain. It's old school navigation, compass and map, no electronics, all that stuff.
Wow.
So they were out in the dunes and got a little overconfident, and so it was up a dune, down a dune, up a dune, down a dune, up a dune, no dune.
Oh my God.
So she flew at about 25-30 feet. And stuck the front nose into the next hill and broke the back windshield and, bent up, broke the axle. They both had concussions. They had helmets on and stuff. And we had disabled the airbags. So no airbags went off or anything like that.
Well, but actually, thank God you did that, because that could have caused even more injury.
Yeah. So we got rid of, those are disabled, but so spent 3 or 4 days. They ended up getting the parts and they finished the rally and basically just had to do it in 2-wheel drive because they had to disconnect the front diff because they couldn't find the right gearing and all this stuff. Anyway, so I did not communicate with her for 10 days. So she called me after it happened because they needed to know what the gear ratio was on the front axle, and she didn't happen to know it. So I ended up finding out where they took it to the shop. I called the shop, said, "You cannot tell anyone that I'm calling you. However, this Jeep is in SEMA in, at that time, it was 9 days." I said, "I need to at least get pictures so I know what parts to order so I can put this thing back together for SEMA."
Yeah.
So he was very gracious and sent me some pictures. And so I knew it was broken. I talked to the booth sponsor that it was going to be in, and I actually wanted to put it in there wrecked, but they said no, it was an electronics company, and they were like, "Oh no, we need it. We need it at least built to this level."
Yeah.
Ordered all the parts. I drove the motorhome to San Diego, picked her up, drove all the way back to Montana. We were then 4 days out from SEMA. I spent the next 4 days straight rebuilding that while she slept, because she hadn't slept for 12 days. While she slept, we put it back on the motorhome trailer, took it to SEMA, and it was in SEMA 4 days later. So that's my crazy SEMA story. That it was
that is so awesome.
Yeah, it happened. But yeah, and then it caught on fire after training. So then all the interior completely wrecked. I rebuilt and refabricated an all aluminum dash for it, all custom. Everything's custom built now.
Seriously? Well, thank God it caught on fire, actually.
Right. I'm pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure she did it on purpose because she hated the plastic. That was the only part that was.
Oh,
so
man.
We're left with 5 parts. That's all that's left from when we started. Everything else has been replaced. One of which is the engine itself and the hardtop and the body. So we pretty much, I joke and say it's our $45,000 $12,000 Jeep.
$12,000 Jeep.
Yeah, it's
But I mean, it's
worth about 10 grand and got 50 grand worth of parts on it. So.
But it's the love, though. It's
Yeah.
the story. The story alone is worth 50 to 100 grand. I mean, like, come on. This thing, that's one thing I was telling my wife, you know, as we, you know, are collecting and as, you know, she's developing, you know, it's funny about these Hot Wheels. She would bring home like different little cars and I'd be like, oh, cool. But I never thought in a million years she'd let me do what I really wanted to do.
Right.
Now she's super into it and she's into custom car building too. And it's kind of so cool. So I feel like this road is leading us somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but I was telling her last night, you know, when we're collecting things like the JFK thing or the iCard or whatever, it's the story. It's not even so much the thing. It's the story surrounding the thing and the life that it's. I'm one of these weird guys that think that cars have souls. At least I'm sorry. At least I want to, and I'm gonna stick to it. I don't care. That's it. I just feel because you ever sell a car
except
and you just feel like
the PT Cruiser. There's no soul in a PT Cruiser. You know, that's. I'll tell you a story about that after you finish.
I agree. I mean, come on, man. That was a misstep that Chrysler had.
So quick story about that. I took my daughters out of school for 100 days and we did a 34 state camping trip around the United States. So we did 12,000 miles, 34 states in 100 days. So the joke is that every time a PT Cruiser passed us, we would try really hard not to get caught in the vortex of suck. So every time it would pass us, I just, you know, kind of like barely move the wheel over to the left towards it. And I would make a big deal out of it. And they're like, I don't know, 8 and 9 at this point. Don't get caught in the vortex of suck, daddy.
Suck.
So I would say no offense to those people that own a PT Cruiser, but you know, offense, honestly, that's buy something else.
I don't, you know, I think I get the idea around that design. Because I think they were trying to bring back the Woody.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, they have some that look like
Woodies. That are Woodies.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But you can't, it's like trying to improve on perfection.
Yeah.
You know, like stop.
I'd rather have an 80s station wagon that has wood paneling on it.
Dude.
Anyway.
Well,
so
that's actually, you know, my wife's first car was a Colony Park, 82 Colony Park.
Nice. That is good. That's a good teenager car. You can get like 50 people in that thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She loved that thing. She always talks about it. And I didn't quite understand it. I'm like, but I get it. I totally get it. And that suspension, I think it probably had Lincoln suspension on it.
Probably. Yeah.
Because remember the 70s town cars and the way they were just ginormous and they you know,
when you follow behind them, they literally would just bounce. My parents had a couple of those. Yeah. The
town cars
riding though. Yeah. The town car. Right.
They were trying to compete with Cadillac, but I think Cadillac had a superior ride back then.
Yeah.
You know, but still, I think that's where they put that suspension I think they're looking at it and going, man, we made a lot of these. What are we going to do? Because I don't think they were making the town car then. They switched completely to the Continental.
Yeah.
Into it and it was shorter and all that. And I think that's what they did. They said, my God, we're going to do all these town car. Let's make a Colony Park. We'll just make a Mercury. And, you know, but she loves that thing. And one of these days I want to get one for her. Just, you know, I want a Seville. My first car was a 77 Seville.
Nice.
I would love to get one that, so Carter had the Embark or what was it? You know, if you don't go, if you don't have the speedometer at 120, they won't go that 120. I peg that thing because that
they would go way
engine,
faster than 120. Whether or not you
way
faster, that thing is a different thing. Yeah.
Oh my God. I had that thing, like you never saw the needle when I was on the freeway, you know, and that particular engine was specific to Cadillac. Like it wasn't something that GM used in all, like it wasn't like a regular V8. That was a Cadillac V8 that
Is that
if
four?
you
Was it
tuned
a
it,
four? Was it a 454 or did it go even? Was it? It was a big block. I know that, but I don't know
it
whether
was a
they had
big
it
block.
to 502, whether it just at a 454. But
It was a
it's a big motor.
454, but I think it was a 454, but you could tune it
Yeah.
like anything else, but you could tune it to where it was high performance,
Yep.
you know, and but it
Well,
had
during
that.
that time, in order to hit those numbers that they wanted to do, they would put little bitty carburetors on them and little bitty intakes.
Yeah,
And so
that's
all you
right.
really had to do was swap the carb in the intake, and then you get all that displacement from a big, big block V8.
Funny you should mention it. So I was messing with the engine, but in my messing with it, I did something to the thermostat,
Mm.
and I was out on a date. I was out on a date, and my it it blew up. Like didn't
Mm.
the engine didn't blow up, but it was overheating like
Yeah.
really badly. So I
So the
go to my friend.
thermostat got stuck. There's no water moving through the engine and it overheated.
None.
Yep, I've been
That's
there.
right. So so I call my grandfather. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in the car. And he's like, Brad, just stop. I was in Belay. I was like, I don't know, like 30-ish minutes away from where he lived. I was at my friend's house, and it was a thing. It was looking back on it, it was a lot of fun. But so he gets there, and I said, what are we gonna do? I mean, I think I messed this up. And he said, don't worry about it. He took out his knife and he went blip, start it. Started right out.
Nice.
West Virginia ingenuity.
There you go.
That
Nice.
was it. And I never
I'm
ran it with a
surprised they didn't pull
thermostat
out a
again.
hammer and just beat the thermostat. Like usually you just beat the top of the water house,
Dude,
water housing where the thermostat sits, and usually
I'll never
that'll
forget
free
it.
them up. Yeah.
I'll never forget it. Well, he took something off, but I'll never forget it. He took it. He used to always carry a buck knife,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
and he took it out and he went, blip, started up. You're good.
Nice.
Never had one again.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Well,
I would love to have one.
back in some of those, they have those super short water housing necks, and so you can actually pop the upper radiator hose on it, and you can see the thermostat. So it's possible he flicked it, he stuck that buck knife in there, and
He
then
might have done that.
and opened up the thermostat on it. But yeah, that's stuck thermostats.
That's probably what he
Stuck
did,
thermostats back in the day, definitely.
dude.
Yeah, we've been there. Been there
So
more than once.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I'm cruising, and this is the girl I dated in high school, right? So, she's in town and we're reconnecting and all that, and going to my friend's house in Vallejo, and I was so embarrassed, man. So, and I was, I don't know, like my whole world came flashing down the minute I got there. So that car was it was listed as red, but it had faded so badly
It was pink.
that it was copper.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It was badass. Problem is that the copper, like the doors didn't quite match the whole
Yeah.
thing. But I didn't care. Man, I got that car and it was rubbing compound and turtle wax, boy.
Yeah.
And I got, kept that. I had it was the Cadillac rims, like the not the hubcaps, but the spoke and star
Oh,
rims
yeah.
on it.
Yep.
The thing was amazing, man. That car was, I just, you always love your first car.
Yeah.
But my grandparents were so cool. I think they bought that for, I think, $200.
Wow.
And and they gave it to me, and I just so grateful. So grateful. I would love to have one again. I just can't find one that is I mean, it could even be a resto mod. I don't care. But that Cadillac engine was no joke.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great engine.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want one. It doesn't have to be stock, but I can't find one at like a decent price. But then what can you find at a decent price these days?
I
So,
always have a crush on Magnum from the 80s. And so one of my first dream car was this Cobra that I built.
yeah.
My next dream car is something between 78 and 84, 328 or 308 GTS.
But have
Basically,
you driven one though? Have you driven one?
They're absolutely terrible.
Not to say.
And I do not care. That's the thing. I want one that
I love it.
I want one that I can take apart, do the timing belt and all that stuff, right? You got to take the whole engine comes out of the back of it so you can
That's right.
Yeah, they're from a Ferrari standpoint, they're terrible. I think it has less horsepower than my wife's Jeep.
I think so, bro.
It's so yeah.
It's a Fino, bro. It's a Ferrari in name only.
Yeah, you don't get a car like that because you're like, oh, I want a high performance. First of all, supercars don't impress me anymore. You drive this Cobra and
with you on that.
Like I'm not impressed, with your computers and all that stuff. This Cobra has 400 at the rear wheels and weighs 1,900 pounds. So
do you got 6 on the floor up with this?
It's a 5-speed. It's a Tremec.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 5-speed, but yeah, it'll spin the tires all the way through 4th if you want.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing though. I mean, if you even look at, Aston Martin or I guess cars within the last, what would you say, 15 years? And they were like steadily getting manuals out of lexicon.
It's hard to find one now. Porsche makes a couple. Most of the supercars you cannot get in a manual transmission.
The pedals, like you can switch, but it's all stupid.
I have paddles in my 2021 Jeep Trailblazer Grand Cherokee. I'm like,
for what?
For no reason at all.
Honestly,
it has like 8 different ways to shift this thing into.
Just to make it interesting, like it's like what, why,
But,
and now you have kids. Bro, I learned, dude. Okay, good story, and you're gonna love this. So back in the day when you could lie on your application, and you could even lie to the DMV. I got a vehicle salesperson's license, and I worked at a Ford store selling cars. I said I was 18. Somehow they bought it, and I got my vehicle salesperson's license at 16.
Nice.
And I've been driving, even on my dad's knee, bro, like steering and all. I've been driving forever. And, but I could not figure out how to drive a stick. And so, one of the sales, I'll never forget it, man. We took out a Ford Probe.
Yep.
That car is just icky. Like in its name, it's gross. But I took that thing out and he was teaching me how to do it. And I, all the way down San Pablo Avenue, he's like, man, mother, what you doing, man? You're gonna, man, stop, boy, you hard on a clutch. And so anyway, we got back. It wasn't until I literally it was almost like when I learned how to tie a tie. It wasn't until I had to drive that stick that I somehow clicked and I drove it flawlessly.
Yeah.
And bro, no one, like, unless you buy a classic car, like, these kids are never going to know the joys of actually controlling your car.
Yeah. Yeah. I made my youngest had a manual, and I taught her how to drive it. And then her sister didn't learn how. Well, guess who gets to drive the Cobra and guess who can't?
Dude.
Here's a side note on the best way to teach someone how to drive a manual, though. If you ever do have it, you don't let them touch the gas. Make them do everything with the clutch only. And it keeps, like, because that teaches them clutch control. And once they can figure out how to get it from stop into first without touching the gas, assuming it's on flat ground, right? That doesn't apply if you're on a hill, but that's the way I taught my girls how to do it. One of my girls, but the other one wasn't interested.
Dude.
She had an automatic, but
Like I'm
So
good. It drives for me. I'm good.
yeah, it's fine. Yeah, right.
That's excellent way. I never thought
Yeah.
of it that way.
Yes.
I kind of the 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 balance
Mhm.
made sense to me. And then like I was a pitcher, and so when I was in a really crucial game, I remember like mechanics were really important to me.
Mm.
And so I would in my head, I would, when I would set and I would start to pitch, I would go release point now,
Yeah.
you know? And so then I sort of adopted that in, with the clutch and I go, okay, that's the release point, you know? But I think your way is way better because then you find out where that release point is. Well,
Yeah.
what I call a release point, but we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you don't have to touch the gas to make manual go.
No, because it's,
You
I mean,
know,
the Cobra idles at like 375 RPMs. Oh,
no,
But
dude, stop it
but
right now.
and the
This
clutch
is
throw the clutch throw is like 3 inches. Like literally, it's like got the shortest clutch, and you got to have huge
wow.
calves in order to use it and all that stuff. But you can still do
Oh,
it
is it
now.
super? Is it a real tough clutch?
It's got a lot of weight behind it.
Oh wow,
It's a King Cobra clutch on it, but it's a
dude.
very short throw on it, and so
Wow.
it doesn't take a lot. But even in that, you can do the same thing because it's got enough power. It's got enough power to move the vehicle no matter what you're driving. Just put it on flat ground, go in a parking lot, and then that's how they get a feel for what the clutch is. Because
Yeah.
most people are more they're used to the gas. They want to push the gas and forget about the
Right.
clutch and all that jazz. But anyway, that's your clutching 101 talk for the day.
Well, clutch story real quick. So, uh my brother Dennis Gaxiola, he's good friends with Paul Rodriguez. And so Paul was in town and he had driven up to the Bay Area from LA to do shows. So somehow I got the job to go get Paul and take him to the club. So I end up having to drive. He had this souped up Camaro, bro. I mean, it was stupid, ridiculous. I mean, just ridiculous. And that clutch was so heavy, bro. I was like, man, I
Yeah,
was
like
like, what
move
do
the
you
seat forward so you could get leverage and all that. Yeah.
bro? I'm like, I looked over at Paul and I said, is one of your legs bigger than the other? Like, what the F are we doing here? Like, is this
Yep.
necessary? Yeah, man, don't worry about it. Just drive. You're fine. You're fine. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I don't want to burn out this guy's clutch.
Yep.
What would be next? Here's Brad. He burnt out Paul's clutch. But anyway, hi, how
Yeah.
you doing?
There you go.
I'd
Yeah.
be known as clutch burner for the
There you
rest of my
go.
life on that. Man, what got you into cars, bro? Like, what was it?
Well, I dated a girl, as these stories sometimes go. But
Here
no,
we go.
it was actually the dad of my girlfriend's friend and my girlfriend's dad. So I have
Okay.
a great dad. We have a good relationship, but he was a car guy, but then he just wasn't. I didn't really have a close relationship back then. It's gotten
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
He's 86, but I had a 67 Chevelle that I had restored. My girlfriend had a 67 Chevelle that she had restored. Her best friend had a 69 Camaro pace car convertible. Her dad had a 427 split window Corvette with triple deuces on it and a 69 GTO maroon
Hmm.
convertible, right? So these were my weekends. I grew up in Stillwater, Oklahoma, which actually had the first Sonic in the United States, by the way.
Thank you
But
for
on
the ice, Sonic. We love you and appreciate
We
you.
love
All
Sonic.
praises to Sonic.
Feel free to breathe. We don't have Sonic up here, so feel free to mail me something. But on Friday
The
night,
ice will melt.
that's right. On Friday, yeah, send me a slushy. On Friday night, you would go to Sonic at that point, and everybody's hoods are up. So, like, it was a car show every Friday night, and so that became part of my world. But then on Saturdays and Sundays, I would just go hang out at this house where we would all be there and work, wrenching on cars and all that. And that became kind of my male influence, right? On that, taught me how to work on cars. I restored my first Chevelle. I've done a couple of them, and that's how I learned how to wrench on cars. That and just doing it, kind of be. I miss my daughter once said, she said, you were missing something in your brain that tells you can't or shouldn't do something, because
Thank God.
I just do it. Like I
Yeah.
expect to fail. So if I screw it up, I'll just do it over again. I'll do it, but I'll do it right the second time. Right. So I have this, I think it's on the wall back behind me. Let's see. Yeah, it says failure is always an option. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
I'm actually wearing
Actually, you know what, bro? I love that, because I was actually Scott Nathan, been a guest on the show. He's got his own podcast and wrote a book. The guy he's a photographer, and he's literally like the Forrest Gump of Hollywood, one of the many Forrest Gumps of Hollywood. And he put out this video the other day on TikTok, and he said, embrace, like, what was it? Embrace the suck. Like, do something you suck at. Everybody you admire has, when they started, they absolutely sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And then it evolved. That's sucking is, or failure rather. Failure is the door fee to greatness.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
If you don't fail, you don't learn. There's like, if you are afraid of failure, you will literally never do anything.
Brother, when I got into acting, and performance, and I was a baseball player and stuff like that. But I hung around all this, and my grandparents, my grandfather, my uncle, they were building cars and stuff like that. I told you about the trucks. But I had a friend, one of them his name is Ian Sears. He built a Chevelle from the ground up, like you.
Mm-hmm.
And my other friend was Shel Shrivogel. His dad worked for, I think he worked at the Numi plant in Fremont. You got to know what that is.
Yeah.
I think that's where he worked. And I think he worked for the American when Volvo made their cars at Numi. I think that's correct.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he built a 442 from a rusted nothing. He built that thing from the ground up. Took him he started that car when he was, I think, 13 or 14.
Wow.
And he had it right maybe before he graduated, or maybe that year. Him and Ian were good friends, and they were like competing on who was going to get their car built faster and who was going to be better. And I hung out with them, and Shell he was next door. His parents were, and they're still good friends this day. Were next door neighbors to my aunt and uncle, the one that built the truck.
Mm.
Don't tell anybody, but I had a massive crush on Shell's sister. Whatever.
There you go.
So anyway, but we would go, and in Albany, Berkeley, there really wasn't that sort of place where you could hang out with your cars. But the fact that there were places like that, I feel like we have to bring back this culture of building, this culture of, you didn't know it, but you were an engineer back in those days. Just as a kid, you were working on the engineering of building these cars, and then being able to show it off and look at what I did, and look at what, that's just evolved in what you're doing now. One of the things you're doing now, you're doing so much, it's ridiculous. I don't see how you know what? I guess you figure you'll sleep when, God calls you home. But dude, you have so much going on. It's ridiculous.
There's
anyway, there's like links that you have to send me because it's like 20 of them. Anyway,
I'll just pick a couple of them. That makes it easy.
Well, see, but what I guess what I'm getting at is I just don't see where kids, a lot of kids anyway, and there's a couple on TikTok and all that, but where they're able to do like that. It's like what you guys were doing, you were almost bringing back the 50s in
Mhm.
what, the 80s?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
would
it
have
was
been the 80s.
still sort of a culture that was thriving. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And it's so important because just people are not going to have that's that sense for, we got to bring it back. How do you think we can?
Well, I think one of the things that I encourage older guys like myself that are older car guys is, look, a cambered out racer is not my style of car, right? Like, it's just not. If you want, a '94 Honda Civic on bags that's all cambered out and all that kind of stuff, and that's your love. You want to spend your money on that. If you want to do the work to make it done right and all that, I'm excited that you are doing something car culture related.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of especially older hot rodders and older car guys do is they look down on that and say, well, that's just stupid. Right. Well, I bet your grandparents thought your rat rod you were an idiot for putting 8 different parts on one and making it work. Right. Like, that's also kind of
Right.
stupid. And so what I try to do is I want to encourage these younger guys that, look, dude, whatever you're into, just get off the freaking video game and go play with a car. Right?
Yeah.
Don't build it on GTA and beat hookers and all that stuff with it. Like, go out, like, actually, like, if you think it's cool to sit on a video game with Forza or whatever and actually, like, quote unquote pimp out your race car, go
Yeah.
find someone that can do that in real life and show you how to do it. Right. And
And
it may
show
be
you how to do
something,
it.
yeah, it may be something crazy. Like, you don't even need to do anything nuts. Do some different wheels and tires, learn how to clean it, learn how to take care of it, change your own oil, all of that
Man,
kind of
that's
stuff.
so important, bro.
But I think a lot of times we look down on things that we don't like from the next generation. And quite honestly, like, if you're out there and you're not in front of, if you're not doom scrolling on TikTok and you're actually trying to do something that's interesting, go for it.
Mm.
I could care less. Even if you want to drive a PT Cruiser, who cares?
I mean, I'm thinking, you know what would be kind of fun is hot rodding a PT Cruiser and making it like a 4x4, putting a 6-inch lift on it, taking those fenders off of it, and putting like a blower.
Yeah. I saw Miata on Oahu when my daughter lived there they turned. Do you remember you talked about different car things? Did you have stompers?
No.
Stompers were the most, and you can buy newer versions of this, but they were amazing because they were little 4x4 trucks and they had like I think they had like 5 different versions of them. Had
Uh-huh.
little foam, mud tires on them and super swampers and that kind of stuff. But they ran off they were a little electric motor that ran off
Right now.
there you go, off a double A battery. But the cool thing about electric motors is they basically respond to any power that you put to them. So
Hmm.
what we figured out, I mean, I was a kid that took everything apart. If you put a 9-volt battery in it, it goes 4 times as fast. So I I learned how to wire it so we could put 9-volt batteries with a little switch from Radio Shack in it. That's when Radio Shack sold electronic parts. But the
Oh, those are
stomp,
the
like,
days.
we could build, they put them on little motocross type tracks and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, any kind of hobby that you want to do, but that Miata on Oahu looked like a giant stomper to me.
That,
Looked like an old stomper.
brother, hold on 2 seconds. We're getting ready to do we got to say hi to our sponsors. So
Absolutely.
hold on. All right, guys, I am so excited to talk about our sponsors. I really, none of this could happen without them, and I really appreciate them wholeheartedly. Let's talk about one. If you are looking to do anything video related, and actually they're going through a change right now and becoming White Husky Media, if you can believe it. including billboards in Times Square, and which would have been, I'm not going to say it. It would have been great for a certain gathering that happened. But anyway, if you have anything you want to advertise, websites done, and maybe podcasts, whatever, commercials, get in touch with White Husky Films. Great at what they do, and they just keep building and going from one success to the other. And I will be eternally grateful for how they helped us get started. So get in touch with them. Call Steven Saldana. You can go to their website, www.whitehuskyfilms.com. It's very simple. All you got to do is dream, create, record in that order. And when you choose White Husky, you will be so glad you did. And let's get to Jane's Physical Therapy. Oh my gosh, we are hiring in the Jennings, Crowley area. We're still hiring in the New Orleans area and in Baton Rouge. Listen, Kevin, you're going to love this. We on sort of a hiring spree, man. And the one thing that we've developed is this program where we're hiring graduates. Like they can start working for us and shadowing our senior PTs, and then take their boards. When they take their boards, they become a full-fledged doctor, and they can start seeing patients. And it's almost like a mentorship program, and it's pretty cool. We're also looking for PTAs in that area and in those areas. And as we grow for PTs, we need PTAs in force. PTAs, we're looking for a minimum of 2 years to 5 years of experience, and we go on up from there. But we're just expanding the tent, man. And Kevin, I want to ask you a question. You know, I love that sign behind you, say fit at any age.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when I was losing weight, your voice is in my head, and I'm still losing weight. And, I changed what I ate, and that was so important, changing what I eat. That was a big deal. Now
It's 80%
progressing,
of the work, by the way. Yeah.
80% of the work. And now, hey, I got to get back in the gym, man. I really do. It's, but fit at any age, but sometimes that comes with a cost. Tell me, what does physical therapy mean to you?
Yeah, so it's funny because I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about soreness and working out, and when you lift, you get sore, right? So I always joke and say, well, I started lifting weights when I was 14, so I've basically been sore for 40 years constantly. Which to me is actually a good thing, because that means I'm doing the work, my muscles are doing what they need to do. But I can tell you right now that I'm sitting here and my right arm is a little numb because I constantly have overly tight pec minors. And if you don't know where that is, if you kind of stretch your arm out, it's right kind of in your armpit, and it gets tight, and it cuts off the blood flow to your arm. And so I spend a lot of time on computers and working out and all that, and so that gets to be a problem. So my wife Michelle, we actually went to PT yesterday, and quite frankly, I wish I had Jane's here with us, because then they could just come to the house. I don't have to leave the house. I can do my thing. It saves me hours and all that. So if they're looking to expand, Bozeman, Montana will be a perfect place for them to come. But we went in, we got it done. She actually had an injury, which most people don't know, that when you get COVID, it causes full body inflammation. She actually ended up having a disc issue at C5, C6 in her neck that causes now, ironically, total numbness and pain in her right arm, because it compresses the nerve.
Really?
The disc pokes out, compresses the nerve. She's been dealing with that for probably a month now. And she did some prednisone stuff, which is kind of, oral steroids to help you bring the inflammation down. But now we're starting physical therapy in the hopes of avoiding going steroid shots and all that. So I was thinking, man, this. And first of all, I need to go in and get my situation taken care of. But we're like we talked about earlier, guys, right? Like, I'll take care of her first, and then we'll deal with it. But physical therapy is just like, we talked about cars this whole episode, right? Like, if I just decide to drive my Cobra for the next 150,000 miles and never change the oil, never change the tires, anything, it's going to freaking fall apart, right? We'll blow the motor up or something. Your body works the same way. when you use your body, you got to get it fixed. And PT is a really great way to do it. And especially with James being able to come out to, with you guys coming out right to the house, what a convenience. That would be amazing. I wish I could have had it here.
I tell you, if you think about it, it's a different sort of it's a different mindset, right? So, our PTs and our PTAs, are going to people's homes. So it's a different sort of dynamic, especially when you're dealing with, we deal with TBIs, post-surgical is a big deal, geriatric, some athletic, if people are homebound and stuff like that. And bro, some of these, like our stroke patients, we have to get them, let's say they can only get up to 40%. Our goal is to get them 100% of that 40.
Yeah.
To have them live their lives. And so it's a different dynamic. We don't, we don't take any abuse, but but you know what I mean? It's going to be a different dynamic if you're dealing with somebody in their home and they can't walk correctly, or
Right.
they can't, you know what I mean? So it's really a heart kind of thing when, think about, this is your dad or your uncle or your aunt or your mom. That's who you're treating, and it doesn't matter if they're like a collegiate athlete or if they're an 80-year-old that had a stroke. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. And so we've been so fortunate that our program with hiring new graduates, new DPT graduates, and even PTAs that are, have that sort of 2 to 5 and then into 15 years of experience. So valuable, man. And they have incredible hearts. And I've been speaking at universities, doing lunch and learns, and guest lecturing. And it's just really, really cool because they don't really talk about home health a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so we're partnered with LHC. So, we're directly tied into the hospital system, wherever LHC happens to be. And I'm telling you, you just said Montana. I got to talk to Casey. There's a few things we're talking about and expanding in different states, and that's a real thing. And that'll be coming down the pike. But guys, get in touch with me. You heard it. You heard it from Kevin, how important it is. And we are looking for people that want to make a difference in people's lives directly, seeing the results. We need those people. And if that's you, and I will say we're the part of the industry that makes the most money. You want to have a good living, making someone have living their best life that they possibly can. Come talk to me. You can get me on LinkedIn. Give me a call, 713-864 364 sorry 713-364-8777, or of course email me, bradley@janespt.com. We are here, we are ready. We don't go through the whole CYA training, at the CYA training is, right?
Yeah.
Look, we respect you as professionals, and come talk to me, and let's see if we can get you working today. Awesome. And man, let me see who else we want to talk about. Oh, we'll talk about one more. Puente Coffee Company. Go to Puente Coffee in Austin. You can go to their website or go to their Instagram, Puente Coffee Co. And the cool thing about them is they don't over roast their beans. So I've been drinking Starbucks this whole time because Puente hasn't sent me my beans. Okay, just so you know,
little
I'm
plug.
just saying, Puente, I'm out. So you've made me resort.
Yeah, there you go.
But if you ever, you're drinking coffee, and we've all had, it's an acquired taste, you drink coffee and tastes a little bit burnt, but we just get over it. Puente, it's none of that. It's absolute smooth. It's great. It's wonderful, and it'll get you going, and it's pretty dope. Kevin, we're coming up on about an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know if you have to go. I want to keep you all day, honestly. But we're
Well,
going to roll over.
the audience may have to go take a nap for a while. We'll come back, right? We'll do a little 50-minute power nap break.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I've been getting this. I've been having to defend the long form podcast.
I'm a listener long form too. You know that,
brother. Absolutely. Well, Sean Ryan, when I started this game, and I was researching different podcasters that I really liked, Sean Ryan was one of them. That man had a 6-hour podcast episode. And I watched the entire thing. It took me a couple days.
Rogan's 2.5 to 3 hours. So, like, you know,
bro,
you like
what I can't wait to do, brother, is I want to get, either if we move out of this place, because I'm in a condo, so, but we move out of this place and I build a studio at the house, right? I want to be able to invite people to the studio, hang out, and do our thing and talk in a really nice, setting. Probably, it's probably going to look a little bit like, I'm gonna have to get plans from you, bro. You bring it and make it look like your garage.
Yeah, there you go.
And just be able to do it because, I'll tell you one thing, and tell me, as a podcast personality, is that what we call it? Television personality, media personality?
I don't know. Yeah. Personality, right?
Personality.
That's a personality. I like to be referred to as the talent, Bradley.
That's
part of the.
Well,
I thought you read that in the contract that my agent.
Sorry. Well, you're letting some secrets out of the bag, my brother.
I've got a lot of, like you, I've got a lot of TV friends, and I love calling them that because it just irritates the crap out of them. I'm like, what are you, bro? Talent now? Like, I'm not that impressed.
It's like, yeah, maybe might be a little bit, When I was first called the talent, I didn't know what to think about that. Yeah. Honestly, I really didn't. It just was weird. But I will say this, this show has evolved to the extent that, it started out, I wanted to give recruiters a leg up, and then I wanted to get, somebody asked me, I kid you not, they asked me, well, who's your avatar? I'm like, my avatar? What the is that?
ICP, baby. ICA, ICP.
Right. Exactly. Dude. But it's evolved, and really, like the name of the show, I think is, whatever. But it's evolved to the extent that I want to let people know what makes people tick, and you've created this thing, or this company or this, whatever it is, why did you do it? What, and what is it that makes a person tick? Really, that's what this show has become. And it's been so rewarding for me, because you have no idea. I've had so many people on, man. And I watch my own show to see what they say. Cause sometimes, you're in the midst of the show. So it's a conversation. Sometimes you forget things. And, being able to apply certain things that I've learned from guests that I've had on, and I'm wondering, for you were really, I don't want to say an activist, like you weren't out there campaigning and lobbying for men's rights. What you were doing is telling men it's okay to be you. And in fact, you are called to be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
In an age where it was like taboo to talk about.
I would argue it's still is, right? We're still
to an extent. We're
in that depending on which side of the fence you're standing on.
Correct. Well, you're right. But at the same time, through all of that, you were a voice, and you didn't even set out to do this. I don't think You were just, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but knowing you a little bit, you were probably looking at the landscape and going, this is bullshit.
Mm.
What can I do to help this situation without, because without men be doing what they're supposed to do, just what they're supposed to do, not even anything extra, just what they're supposed to do, we're really going to have a hard time in society. And that's what we're seeing now, I think, in a large degree. But you were a voice that made it okay.
Mm.
And I don't think you set out to do that. I just think you saw, and then correct me if I'm wrong, this is just my perception.
Okay.
I think you saw things for what they were and decided, I got to do something about this.
I mean, I'm a pragmatist, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm always been very pragmatic. And honestly, if God gave me it, the way I look at life is if God gives me an opportunity to say something and I don't say something, then that's technically a sin of omission, not
Mm,
necessarily commission. Not that I look at it that way and like, oh, I don't want to sin and therefore I'm going to do this. But I try to look for opportunities to speak into people's lives, and whether or not it's one person or 100 people or whatever,
yeah.
I'm totally cool with that. But I had a conversation with Michelle. We take a walk every morning and then we walk the dogs every afternoon. That's just one of our things. And I was telling her yesterday, I'm like, what's cool is I think that we are now on the cusp of the kind of the downhill swing of people stopping to refer to masculinity as toxic. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is a thing. Interestingly enough, you see these videos on TikTok of these like ultra liberal women, young women, and they're complaining that they can't find a man that treats them like they should be treated, opens doors
Right.
for them, knows how to open a pickle jar, actually values their contribution, and all of these things.
Right.
And what they're really saying is that I can't pick this ultra liberal guy that doesn't know whether he's a guy, right? And that's
Yeah.
no fault of those guys.
It's
They
really not, bro.
and
You're right.
that's, I think, young men now. Somebody asked me a couple of days ago, like, what's going on with masculinity now, and what's the biggest challenge facing these younger men? And I think it's because they really are still afraid to be men, and
Mm,
there's no one in their lives teaching them how to be men. We still have a fatherless, basically, society, whether it's no father in the home or an absent father in the home that works too much and all of that stuff, or doesn't know how to teach their sons. But we're still
yeah.
telling young men that masculinity is kind of it's a dirty word, right? And I think it's getting better, but I think that these young men are still going, with all the gender ideology and like, is it even okay to be a dude? Do I have to be trans? Do I have to be gay? Like, what is it? Like, I like
Right.
girls, cars, and football. What's wrong with me? Right? Something's wrong with me, right? Like
Right.
that becomes kind of the message for these guys. And I just want I try to encourage these young men that, like, dude, you don't have to be an alpha. I'm more of an alpha guy, even though I don't hunt and kill things. I killed a wasp, for my wife, but I don't hunt. That's part of my job. But like, I'm a workout guy. I tend to build things. I'm more of an alpha guy, right? But if you are not built that way, but you still see masculinity as serving your wife, if you're married,
Mhm.
serving other people, leaning into that masculinity and who it means to be a man, because like, you can turn that stuff off, or you try really hard to turn it off. But just like we have genders, male and female, and we have innate personality things. Granted, there are outliers to that,
Sure.
and that's what we see. But in general, most guys are going to think similarly, have similar needs, have similar wants, desires, and have similar thought patterns.
Mhm.
Those are okay, right? Like, you can lean into those and you can try to, but I had a conversation too with somebody that was talking about masculinity in very negative terms, in terms of like, well, if you see your wife as someone that's weaker than, then that's toxic masculinity. And that's what all these alpha guys believe, right? Like, that's what all these, if you're a Christian and all of that stuff, right? Like, that's what they'll say. And I explained to them, like, being true masculine man means I recognize that my wife is a boxer. I have done mitts with her and had her punch me in the face. Like, there is nothing weak about her. I do tighten all the pickle jars to make sure she knows that I'm stronger than her, but
As we do.
yeah, there's, I mean,
Just saying.
obviously there's a physical, even though she works out and she can do all that, there is a physical strength difference. But I
Yeah.
have opened the door for her every time, unless it's physically impossible, for 32 years. Like, I open her car door every single time. That is a
Yeah.
show of respect for her, not me telling her that she's weak. And that's really, to
Right.
me, I treat her, I cherish her. I love the word cherish. I cherish her. I lift her up. I make sure she knows that she's, it's God, her, kids, everything else.
Yeah.
And that, so I see that more as masculinity than anything else. And I'm excited to see that the tide has turned a little bit. You talked
Yeah.
about Charlie Kirk a little bit, and his message really was about faith, but he also, you can see in his family how important his family was
Yeah.
to him. And that honestly is and he's not like this big alpha male dude. Like, he was an intellectual, he and more that side, but he's just as masculine as some dude doing deadlifts in his front yard. I don't know if you
Yeah.
see those TikToks. There's a guy basically he's got a back squat, he's got a dumbbell on, or a barbell on his back, and he's doing lunges across the street, up and down the street. He's like, just showing the other dads who the alpha is of the neighborhood.
That's
Right?
exactly what he's doing. Yeah. Yeah.
And
We get it.
I'm not
We get
that
it.
guy, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes in different forms.
I love that. I love what you said there. Um, wait, when this kind of thing started, I remember having a conversation. Um, oh God, this was years ago, and I was at a bar, the one that my wife and I went to for a while, and this woman was saying, I don't need a man to open the door for me and this and that. And I was like, what do you think about that? Like, what's your idea behind that? Well, you think Saab can't do it. And I said, that is not it at all. I said, that should be the test to see if he's even worth talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Opening the door.
Yeah.
Right there, and I suppose, especially in Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
that, you know what I
grew up
mean?
in Oklahoma and Texas, so yeah, if you don't do it there, you're definitely, someone didn't teach you right.
Somebody didn't teach you right, And I asked her one time, or during this conversation, I said, "Do you notice what side of like when you're walking with a man, do you notice where he walks?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, yeah." She goes, "There was a couple people that made sure that I was walking on the inside." And I said, "Yeah. Do you know why that is? It's to protect you. It's to cherish you." I said, the reason women walked on the outside on a sidewalk back in the day was to tell everyone she was for sale.
Yeah.
And if you walked on the if the woman walked on the inside, you stop it. Leave, leave her alone. It's to protect. Like I said, if somebody hops the curb, do you want to be hit?
Yeah,
Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, so, and she started to get it. And, I'm like, all of these things are done to show that we cherish you and we want to be able to, it has nothing to do with you being weak or not knowing how to do something. We assume you do. It's the fact that you're allowing us to show that part that we love you. You know what? When we first did our first show together, you and me, we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it got so throttled because this is what we talked about the whole time.
Yeah. Right.
And it got throttled like you would not believe. Like, it had thousands of views, and then it, you know what I mean? They kept, it was remarkable what that did. But still preaching it from the rooftops, if one of the traits of a man is to protect.
Yeah.
How do you expect your woman to protect you and have your back if you don't think enough of her to have hers?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, and Jordan Peterson talks about the propensity for violence.
You need to be a
Yeah,
monster.
there's this thing that he talks about. Women don't expect you to be violent, but they want you to have the ability to be violent.
Right.
And so like
We live in that world.
yeah, that's part of that protection thing, right? Like it's,
Yeah.
I'm a fairly docile guy, but whether it's my kids, like, or someone from the outside, when you speak to, look at, or approach my wife, like, I will unload. So, and
Yeah.
that's the only time I do that. Like, I protect my children, obviously, at the same time. But like,
Right.
I used to joke with my kids, look, I'll make two more that look just like you. Don't mess with mom. Don't mess with my, and I will say, don't mess with my wife.
Yeah.
I never would say, don't mess with my mom, don't mess with your
You're a
mom,
mom.
because
Don't
so
mess with my
many
wife.
families get it backwards. Like they spend
Oh
17,
yeah.
18 years feeding into the kids and no marriage and, all that stuff. So I'm hoping to, with these younger guys, hopefully we can put that into the right perspective for sure.
Well, I'm telling you, you're doing a phenomenal job. You really are.
We're doing
And
okay.
bro, just I mean, keep doing what you're doing
Thanks.
and showing, I would say showing the way. I mean, it really is important nowadays
Yeah.
to remind, and like I said in the beginning, like some men are rediscovering what it is to be one. And there's
Yeah.
some that are just learning how. Maybe they never had a
Yeah.
dad. Maybe they didn't have
Right.
uncles. Maybe and they're learning what it means to actually to be a man. I mean, when I was a kid and growing up, it was like, you know, the macho thing was a big deal. So it was like you have to be more sensitive and this and that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But dude, you're a dude.
Yeah. Well,
Just be a
you put me
dude.
in front of listening to Gratitude by Bren Lake in middle of church. You'll look at me, I'm bawling. I did this
Yeah.
thing the other day where I was working out. There's this Kenny Chesney song called The Good Stuff. Are you familiar with
Hmm.
that song?
Oh yeah,
And so if you
man.
don't know that
Oh.
song, go listen to it on Spotify. But the premise is he goes into a bar saying, "Give me the good stuff," because he's having a rough time with his wife. And then
Hmm.
the song premise is talking about what the actual good stuff is, right?
Yeah.
Michelle loves that song. So after I listened to it, I brought it upstairs, put it on my iPhone, and she was in the middle of something. And so I pulled her aside and we danced, slow
Mm,
dance, not crazy dancing, right? Like we dance, slow
love it.
dance, like a junior high, like kind of go around in
Yeah.
circles kind of thing, right?
Totally get it.
No ballroom or stuff. So we did this dance for the entire song. When the song ended and we pulled away, both of us were bawling. And like
Mm,
I'm getting a little choked up even kind of thinking about it, because it was just that reminder of that softness that we have and what actually
yeah.
means something to all of us. And like you said, I'm a busy guy, right? I can get overly focused on other things. And so taking that 3.5 minutes or however long that song is, it was like the best. Like I'll remember that forever, and I need to do it more.
That's the
But
good stuff.
right, just because just because I pretend to be super macho or alpha or whatever, dude, I cry all the time.
Yeah, man. Well, that I think that's one of the ways, when the Holy Spirit hits you, you don't there's no other way for our bodies, our
Yeah,
senses to
yeah,
it's just too overwhelming,
yeah.
And
Especially
that's
when
just
when you're a musical person, right? Like that,
oh yeah, like yeah, bro.
that really,
When you're really listening to these lyrics and they're touching your heart. I mean, bro, better than anybody.
yeah,
When you're up and it's just you and a guitar, you know, and you're trying to help feed, but then when you're in the congregation or anywhere in your car,
yeah, yeah,
whatever, and I got to tell you, in my view, I think it's rare to find something, maybe more holy than dancing in your kitchen to a Kenny Chesney song and reminded, and that's a God thing, I think, in
yeah,
reminding all of us
yeah,
what the good stuff is.
yeah,
I
for
just think
sure.
it's, dude, stay right there. We're going to hit final thoughts. And yeah, man, stay right there. Let's do this. I want to, Yeah, we got to close with final thoughts. Let's do it. Oh, sorry.
I feel like I'm doing my afternoon like deep work music with that background music.
Bro, one of the things that I have got to do, like when they first started, we had an intro, and all that. We had some theme music kind of, and then we switched to this platform. And the whole thing about it, this isn't edited at all. Like it's as live, right? And I have to get a theme song, bro. I really do. I don't know if I have to write it. I don't know. I got to get a theme song. This is the StreamYard 30-second thing.
I can't believe you just said that. Of course you have to write it. You are literally a songwriter.
Yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. I can't believe it.
Yeah, you definitely have to. You definitely have to write it. I want jingle style from the 80s. That's what my personal request will be.
That is so cool. Okay, all right. Oh man, I got to research that.
Little dating game 2 and 2.
What was the 2 and 2? What was
I think that was the Newlywed Game, but anyway. Final thoughts.
Love connection, dude. Final thoughts, brother. I have loved this conversation so much. And I'll tell you personally, I needed it, being able to talk about cars and talk about what got us to where we are and the things. I mean, and again, if you don't know Kevin Davis, just Google the man. He's everywhere. And I'm gonna hold you to the SEMA next year. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, easy. I mean, it's in 2 weeks. I'm gonna be there for 2 days. You want to go?
Let me see.
Work.
I might. Yeah,
I gotta work, but I could probably work something out.
Can I will be an assistant. I will go where you send me to go. I'm down with that.
You don't want to hang out with me. You want to go look at cars. If you're going to go to SEMA, I don't want to see you.
I shouldn't even ask this. Maybe screw it. I have to now. Real quick, final thoughts, but we're going to get to that. Ken Diggett designs
Dave
Corvette.
Yep.
You know Dave?
I don't know him personally, but I've met him several times.
You met him. So that CF sort of a factory build of like an elongated C1.
Yeah.
What is that like in person? Like, because that's one thing about those early Corvettes that I've always hated. I would never be able. I mean, I'm 6'1.5". I'm not going to drive that car. And I'm like, it'd be like, watching the mini bike twins trying to get their fat ass in there. And so I'm not doing it. But is it big enough to where you can actually drive that thing comfortably?
Oh yeah. The cockpit's bigger. In my Cobra, for example, it's a smaller cockpit, but I built it like it's got extended foot boxes on both sides, and I extended how far it reaches. I'm just 6 feet, but I have the seat all the way back.
That's big enough.
And then it fits me perfectly. If you are in the mood for a Cobra and don't want to build it, Super Performances are bigger. They're also 180 grand, and you don't get to build it. But a buddy of mine, I'm friends with the guy that owns Super Performance, and they're great cars. But anyway,
you know what? If you want to send me their links too, I mean, whoever you want to promote, man, I would be more than happy to do that. But more than anything, bro, look, you're going to SEMA. Sometimes that is a dream for people. They'll never achieve it. They're just looking at it from what it looks like on television, or they go to the car shows or whatever they do, bro. Like, what is your, I don't know, you've already given it really, but what is your advice to people that are at that sort of precipice where they're depressed because they're not doing anything, but they want to do it, but they don't know how to start. They got no money. They're just, it's just, That's the way they feel about it. What do they do? What's the first step? Go.
Well, I mean, let me back it up just slightly, and let's talk about I don't want to get sales to be about maxed out man, but the three maxed out man things that we talk about are man, mission, and marriage. So and this can apply to basically women and men, essentially.
Yeah.
Man is health, fitness, mindset, faith. Marriage is obvious. Serve your wife, serve your husband, build that, do the work, make it last. Mission, legacy, entrepreneurship, finances, all of that stuff, right? That's your legacy. Faith fits into that. Most people, and you think about it, let's just go use the old school three-legged stool, right? Most people, there's only one leg that's long enough, one leg that's sort of maybe long enough, and so you're on the side, and then one leg that's short. Some people do awesome in business. They're 50 pounds overweight. Their marriage sucks. Their kids hate them. Some people are super fit, have a great marriage, their business is so-so. And then, some people have great businesses and terrible marriages. And, they're like one of those three is off. So take a look at your life. And if you don't have to use my pillars, look at your life in totality and see where the weaknesses are. Prioritize those weaknesses. And in my mind, for most of us, whether you're a person of faith or not, you have that tug on your heart saying, look, there's something that's not quite right with my heart and my soul. Begin to seek that out, figure out what that is. For me, it's my relationship with God. For you, it may mean something else. I'm not here to proselytize or, be an evangelist like your dad.
I'll do it.
You could do it. I mean, obviously, I want that for you. If your marriage is not great, start with a date night. Ironically, I have a little piece of digital program called thedatenightblueprint.com. You can go there. We'll put that in the show notes. Gives you date night ideas, and to help with that fitness wise, dude, stop something. And you don't even have to stop it completely. My buddy Marcus talks about if you want to give up eating fast food because you eat fast food 5 days a week, don't give up fast food. Just eat it 4 days a week, then 3, then 2, then 1, then once a month, once every 6 months, once a year. You don't have to make change. Change is incremental. That's what people think that, oh, well, I got to get in shape, right? So no more sweets, throw everything out, work out 6 days a week, do all that crap, right? It doesn't work. Like, you'll never be successful. Take the Ozempic. The Ozempic's going to make your ass flat and your face fat. Don't do that. Like,
true.
If you need that as a helper to get you through a short term while you work with a trainer, do that. Incremental change. The old Chinese proverb, right? Which is, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Yeah.
And that's really where everything starts. Just do something. I don't care what you do, just do something to make a change in your life and be positive about it. We're doing a new coaching program for men, and actually we bring the wives in too. We're starting this thing called the Brotherhood. It's a 12-month coaching program. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'm bringing in friends like Marcus, my buddy Ray Sanders, who's a high-end guy. Justin can come in. We'll have all these experts, but we'll do 3 times a month. 3 weeks out of the month, we'll just be with the guys doing coaching. Then they have individual, we call them pods, but basically they'll interact with each other on the side. Then once a month, we'll bring the wives in. Michelle will join me. We'll do some Q&A and kind of teaching and all that. And then at the end of the year, if you're part of the Brotherhood, you can actually go with us to Costa Rica. So we're going to do adventure retreats either in Costa Rica or here in Montana. And one really cool thing that I learned from Dan Martell, the Buy Back Your Time guy. Yeah. We're going to do these have you ever heard of a jet set?
Oh yeah.
So jet set, which is like a person, but in this context, what you do is we'll take a private jet from Denver to Costa Rica. And during that flight, we'll do live coaching. Ray and his wife, Michelle, and me will do live coaching with 4 couples on that flight. So you have access. You'll have access to that. I'm not paying for that. You're paying for that, but
let's go.
You'll have access to that. And so we're doing some cool stuff. I'm super excited. about kind of what God's doing with Maxed Out Man. Like you said, I've got 9 other brands and 4 other businesses and do consulting and some TV stuff here and there. But this is really my passion project and what I feel like is finally a calling for me on my life at 53. I want men, if you're 25, 35, 45, or 51
50.
and a half, I want you to have the life I have and maybe avoid some of the mistakes, not all of them, because you need them, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But have the life I have at 53. Like the way I talk about my marriage is better today than it was a year ago, but it's worse today than it'll be a year from now.
Oh,
like I want that for everyone, whether you're male, female, whether you're a man or a woman, husband or wife. I want that for you as well. Maxed Out Man, we say is for men and the women that love them. And so come on, we'll work together and do some things.
Kevin, I cannot tell you what it means to me again. And I'm just going to say it because I'm not going to let you forget it. The impact you've had on my life is immeasurable. Awesome. It's immeasurable. The fact that you're my first show back, it means something.
I love that.
It means something. And just my prayer is that everyone that watches this gets inspired to, inspired to do something. Mm-hmm. Go to Maxed Out Man, listen to your podcast. You've had some of the most incredible guests. I mean, I can say for my show, had great guests. They're wonderful. You, my friend, you've had some amazing guests that lay it on the line in just so many remarkable ways. We're going to have every link to every brand, but I think for everyone watching this, and I'm sure I'm going to clip this in. Go to the sign up for the mastermind, sign up for the retreats, sign up for all of this. What you just told me is so dope. My God, let's go. So just, and of course,
you didn't tell me this was your first one back. So you buried the lead a little bit.
We're having some technical difficulties again. Of course we are, and that's okay. Hold on 2 seconds. Don't go anywhere. All right, there we go. We're back. Go ahead.
It's been an honor. You buried on hiatus for a while. I said, hey, I'm going to take a little break. And then like 10 months later, I still need to start up again, but I'm going to start that up soon. We'll get you on as well and have some more conversations about this. But yeah, I really appreciate you and I appreciate the opportunity to join you, talk cars, men, God, music. Man, this is literally, it's like if you made a list of, hey, Kev, what things do you love in your life? Michelle, God, music, cars, fitness, men, all that stuff, right? We covered it all. So like there's my smorgasbord / buffet of interesting topics that I wanted to talk about.
Well, bro, just know this, that I love you, man.
Love you too, buddy.
You're just awesome. And now to everyone else that's watching, listen, just go check out Maxed Out Man and all of the links that we're going to have below in the show notes. But let me tell you something else. We're going to end with this, as we always do, that we love you and God bless you. And let his face shine upon you and give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself, be excellent to each other, and check out Kevin Davis, Maxed Out Man. You will not regret it. We'll talk to you guys soon. And we're going to see you in, I don't know, next week or in a couple days. We'll see you then.
Amen. Bye-bye.